Good morning. Welcome to Market Day Report on a Friday. I'm Tony St. James. How about we jump into the markets? We're at the end of the week and on the heels of a World Ag Supply Demand Estimate report yesterday from USDA. So let's go to the corn market. Overnight trade, 3.90 3/4 on the September, up 4.5, and December 5.25 higher at 4.11 1/4. What about soybeans? Well, soybeans in the overnight session moving higher on September, and November at 10.18 up 7 3/4 cents. What about the wheat market? Let's start with Chicago. And the December at 5.90 it's up 12. We see 11 to 12 cents higher on the deferreds. And for hard red, what about it? Yeah, higher as well. December at 5.97, up 10 3/4, dime higher on the May, and 10 1/4 higher on July at 6.20 3/4. Spring wheat contract, Minneapolis 9 1/4 higher on the December, and the cotton market finally as we hit 70.60 on the December, up 22. Brian Hoops is with Midwest Market Solutions. And Brian, I guess the first time we've talked since USDA's report. What did you see?
Hey, welcome back, Tony. Hope you had a good time out there. Well, the report itself, not all that exciting. I think it was really a disappointment for both bulls and bears. We didn't see a lot of fresh news in the report. Yields for soybeans left unchanged from last month. Corn yields actually a little bit larger than a month ago. And some of the early reports that we're getting from clients, they're harvesting a really big corn crop, record type yields in many, many areas. Probably too early to really get a good assessment on early soybeans yet at this point in time. There's some good, maybe not so great soybean yields, but market reaction to that report, largely positive. Corn tried to sell off in the morning and then came back by late in the day and is higher, as you mentioned, in the overnight. So we're seeing weakness in the dollar, another private export sale of soybeans to China this morning, another couple cargoes, all supporting features. The dry weather in South America is a feature, and then also tensions in the Middle East seem to be increasing, and we're seeing wheat futures rallying, breaking out above resistance. So that's all spilling over into corn or soybeans, which would be unusual to continue to push higher during the throes of harvest. Seasonally, we start to work lower starting next week in soybeans. Corn's a little bit later, but there's some seasonal pressure that's going to come into these markets in here. The question is, how much further can bulls push this market to the upside without really good fundamental support? Because you look at the overall, the big picture numbers, we have stocks to use ratio for both corn and soybeans, the largest in 6 years. It's going to be hard, I think, to continue to push things a lot higher.
You know, one of the things we pulled from and again, most of our attention on that WASDE and crop production report, but the export number, USDA gave us kind of the final numbers, if you will, for exports for corn and soybeans. 54 million, I think, is what I saw on the exports for 23-24. So a 38% year-over-year increase, but not as bullish, if you will, for soybeans.
Yeah, they're pretty much wrapping up, anything to do with that 23-24 crop year. We saw some numbers yesterday, a little bit friendly for corn as they tighten up the balance sheets ever so slightly. Didn't really make any changes at all for the soybean balance sheets, and certainly nothing for wheat, as they're going to wait till the small grains production summary report at the end of the month to make those wheat changes. So we really didn't get much new, fresh information out of that report yesterday. So we traded it. We closed higher, strong technical close, followed through with some buying interest in the overnight. Now, when we open the session again at 8:30, will the funds step in and buy, or will we see kind of a reversal like we saw last Friday, where we pushed higher and then all of a sudden we started to dip and trade lower, and we dropped pretty sharply on some hedge activity.
Okay, speaking of opening up, we'll also open up our livestock market, so hang around. We'll come back and we'll talk cattle and hogs as Market Day Report continues in a moment. It's Market Day Report. Welcome to almost the weekend, right? At what point can we say the weekend's here? Well, we'll ask Brian Hoops. Maybe he'll have an answer for us in just a moment. Let's go to the markets and how live cattle settled on Thursday. December contract 178.60, $1.37 higher. February up $127 higher on the April contract. For feeders, we saw a higher trade as well. October at 239.75, up 2 1/4, with a November contract at 235.47, gaining $1.45. And this comes as packer bids are stuck at 181. They probably have enough now in the south to be okay, but we'll need more from the north. And hogs in the red, October down 85, December 75 lower at 71.55. Let's bring back in Brian Hoops, Midwest Market Solutions. Okay, Brian, what are you watching on the proteins as we head into the weekend?
Well, we saw good gains in the cattle market yesterday, despite real friendly news. At least the cash market was steady on Thursday. It was steady to weaker Wednesday. So bids improved a little bit on Thursday. At least we traded mostly steady during the session, but we did rally the futures sharply. I think we're going to open probably a little bit higher on some follow-through buying in the December contract. Today is the last day for the Goldman roll, where traders rolled out of those October futures into December or February contracts. That comes to an end with the close today. Overall, it's not been a bad cash week. It's been a good week for the futures. They've rebounded pretty sharply this week, despite cutout values not really moving higher and advancing, despite steer weights coming in 2 pounds heavier than the previous week and about 25 heavier than a year ago. All this news has been steady, kind of a best at even type news, maybe a little bit bearish news, but yet the futures market's been able to rally. I do want to feel like this market is trying to put in its seasonal type lows, and if we can close higher on this bad news, it's going to, I think, give that signal to the trade that is exactly what's happening.
Okay, quickly, is the weekend here officially or not?
Well, we'll be soon. We're getting close. We get through this day of trade, see how things close out, and I would expect a very active harvest weekend. There's a lot of producers looking to not only open their fields up, but really expand and really take harvest very active here this weekend.
Brian Hoops is president, Midwest Market Solutions. We'll see you next week after the weekend.